Chap's got to back off here right now. This player maybe knows that he's by himself over here, and here they are. They're going to try and set up for the pinch now. They're going to both go for the same walls at the same time and really use that numbers advantage as Chap gets a good shot in there. 46, but they fire back as well, and this is a problem right now. They need to close this fight out, quickly to move, but they also need to try and save the meds and the utility they get. This isn't a fight over a mythic drop where you're guaranteed a lot from the vault. They need to hold on to everything they have here as Vex is putting up a good fight and pushing forward. Vex is doing a lot right now. Good edits, good clean movement. He can't get in right now, but teammate comes back through. Someone else is trying to back this up here. It could be Coop, it could be Chap, trying to help fight this one as they're back in the same box. So they found their way together, and all credit to this team. They're playing this fight really well from a disadvantage. They are fighting back, and they are not giving up this drop easily, as now another team pushes in, and it's no other than Booger, Jamper, and Avery, Chap's old teammates coming from Stark Industries. So I have no idea what this is about and how they've rotated this quickly, but now this spells absolute disaster for Chap's team.
As I believe they have gotten just a little bit lucky here. Booga, Jamper, and Avery are actually going to back off. They're going to approach the mountain behind them because they figured there's just way too many builds here. It's a bit of a trap to jump into. As Chap trades with Bizzle there on the sniper shots, and Bizzle goes down, but Chap survives. That's the rare instance right there.
That's 2 times, and I was about to say, what a worse situation to be in than having a long, drawn-out spawn fight with a team that's mechanical, but maybe not playing the fight the smartest because they're just trying to play defensively, and then you get pinned between Booger, Jamper, and Avery, and Clicks, Bizzle, and Illis. That is just... And now we see Unknown, Casca, and Smack, the team that was doing really well coming into today, on 2nd place overall. They've only slipped down to 3rd because they're still resting on how many points they had, but they've had a really rough day here so far. They've gone down 24th and 21st in their last 2 games, so doing better here, but they need to have a good game to kind of keep the momentum going. We haven't seen this team really on the back foot like this before, where the pressure's been pushed off and they have to kind of regain it. They've always started strong and kept steady, so I want to see how their mental is kind of affected there. They're one of the calmest teams you'll ever listen to, though. They do not get emotional at all. It just sounds like another day in the office no matter what's going on for that team. So I can't see them being too emotional, as Edgy, Centered, and Commandment having to play this out without Centered. Unfortunately at the moment it's just Edgy and Commandment, and they need a good game. A top 3 or a win would really push them up and hold that top 15.
They really do. They've been middling for so long now in the competition, yesterday and today included. I mean, they've been doing, you know, just good enough to continue to maintain that top 15, but they haven't broken into the cumulative standings for top 10 in quite some time. They haven't really got up there. And it's partly due to the fact that, I don't know, Commandment's not really finding his eliminations. Stenson and Edgy aren't either, so collectively they're not finding those mid-game impacts that they need, that they would normally find. Honestly, someone like Commandment tends to do, as they now, I believe, just lost Scented as well. So look at this. They're only a 2-man crew coming into this final zone here.
They got to do something big, and Commandment has the legendary pump in his hand, so he's looking really good. 4 shockwaves as well, so they've got the loot. So as much as they're a duo right now, they have what they need to perform well here, as they're going to split them now. They're splitting the shockwaves in case anything goes wrong, and you see this zone has got that little bit of a peak in the middle, but other than that, it's not too insanely difficult of a zone. Cease's team in a nice little spot now as everyone tries to claim a bit of that high ground, and we did that big panning shot. Unless I'm mistaken, Monster, I think that's the Xset guys that had this mountain out of all of them as well, so they're looking like they're probably going to be in a phenomenal position.
Yeah, we saw Cease, Blake, and company here. We saw definitely Xset at the other side there. You can see Bizzle, Clicks, and Ill is still alive as well, huddled up just underneath the cutoff of the mountain, and they have that big tree there to block their line of sight. Creo, Bucky, Kanata holding a little piece of real estate here as well. Just showing you guys, those are the teams that are really in the successful position, really in a strong position right now to find success here. Miro, Dan, Reverse 2K as well have found themselves a little bit of land, but it seems like they're more outside of that big mountain range there. And if you just look at the map, if you guys bring your attention there, look at how many people are trying to get as close to that mountain as possible early. And even then, I mean, you're not guaranteed the zone. We'll find out here in just about 10 seconds where the half in, half out's going to pull. But if you're down there and it pulls far, oh my gosh, it's going to be such a tough rotate for so many different players.
Yeah, it's big open sidelines. You got it. This is one of those situations where you kind of want to be on congested side. You want to be around the other players because at least the builds are going to hide you and you can go through their builds. Because if you don't have the mobility, I'm looking at those 2 teams right center, Blake, Furious, and Cease. That's not looking great if they don't get zoned. But I also noticed there that Miro, Day, and Reverse had 3 eliminations, so maybe they were contested. As top left, a big fight is breaking out for the high ground. Jamper, Booger, and Avery looking like they're trying to fight Bucky, Creo, and Kanata to take their high ground. And if you know that team, there's a lot of love lost between Kanata and Booger, so there'll be definitely words said there if they've just had a big impact on their game, trying to take their position on top of the mountain.
I mean, and it makes sense. They were coming out of Caddy's corner. You know they're going to have shockwaves. They were there nice and early. They didn't overextend, so they quite honestly possibly just shocked on over to get to the new zone anyways. That's why they were battling for height. But the zone's going to pull far north either way, so no matter what they expended, what they put into that battle, it's not going to matter. Everyone's going to have to rotate off that mountain and get to this new zone, and you can see with how fast the crosshairs are moving, players are just doing that right now, as Macwood's in a little bit of a box fight right here, trying to push off a team, trying to fend off a squad to possibly do the tunneling for them. Yeah, look, it's a long tarp into the new zone.
Illis takes down Avery in the feed as well, so big names are falling here. So Booger, Jamper, and Avery really having a rough run here in the kind of day 2 of this round 3 format, because they're not having the consistency I was hoping for them to have with still uncontested start as they make their way through, which means that Jamper we saw there as a solo, but Calc, Zexor, and Macwood, this has to be their game. You have to put it down as a now or never kind of situation, right, Monster? They're in 22nd overall, 49 points. They have not performed up to most players' standards or expectations of them on not only just today and yesterday, but also last week. This is the time to prove why they were your last trio FNCS champions and why they are 3 of the most decorated competitors in NA East. They need to do something, and it has to be soon. They haven't got many games left. They need 3 good games here.
Yeah, definitely. And consistency sometimes just isn't enough, right? Like the way the points weigh later on for the other invitees, like it is going to be very, very tough. You have to get this top 15 right now. Otherwise, you are out of it most likely. Either way, though, they're going to have to make this cut across here. In front of them is a wall that stands, and that's going to be Commandment, who is by himself. That could be a potential big impact for them. As you can see, the wide shot here is showing a couple of solos that have to make the big move here. N-Pen, Aspect, and Zuni's hugging on the outside. Zate still alive there as well with Saf and Stretch, and right behind them, Bizzle, Clicks, and Illis too. So all these big names here, as we jump in with Clicks' perspective, they're going to hop on in. They're going to get to the safe zone. On the other side, though, you can see it's Xset on the low ground as well, leading this tarp here. He finds Vix on the rotate. It's what you expect of Xset. This is their comfort zone.
Getting eliminations. We tune in with Xset, they're on low ground, and AV's got an elimination. That's pretty much one of the few consistencies in life in general. This team will be down here, and they will be fragging. I also want to mention that Clix' team used a crash pad on that rotate while they still had Shockwave. So they're setting up that high ground retake, and right now, I'm not seeing the Zate, Saf, and Stretch domination up on the high ground I'm used to. Stretch is up there, but Saf is having to push forward, and Zate is just there as well. So they might have it, but it's not as secure as what it normally looks. So Clix' team making their way back up through the middle, and geez, never mind. They don't need high ground. 3 eliminations on the board for Illis. Massive refreshes, so they have the materials and they have the mobility if they want to go for height, but last game did not pay off for them. They might have to show that they have that versatility we've seen from the Xset team. We've seen this team show they can play high ground. Let's see if they can play low.
Yeah, Illis is literally insane, though, finding those frags there, just consistently picking up one after the other, keeping their team very much healthy, very much fed here. On high ground, once again, Zate, Saf, and Stretch. Deja vu occurs again here in the second day. Saf's going to take a little bit of fall damage on the misplay there, trying to tarp down, but hey, it's going to still be enough time for him to reconnect in full. Finally now, we see Zexro, Macwood, and Calc in an actual endgame with enough Storm Surge.
This is the game.
This is a treat. This is a rarity. Something we have not seen in the last 2 weekends of the FNCS qualifiers.
We have the high ground takes going off here. We have Slick and Icy, a team we haven't seen going for high ground a lot, really contesting Zate and Stretch, and this is what's good.
Calc goes
not just
up
for
too.
their team, but teams like Calc and Macwood and Zexor. They didn't make the first
Zex
push for
goes
high
up.
ground. They get to come up and clean up. They're technically third-partying high ground. They only had to use 1 shockwave each, and they have the high ground. They get to capitalize on the work that Icy did. This is exactly what you need when you have a team on high ground. Don't be the first one to take it, but be the last one to take it. It is now yours. You have full control over this situation. Xset's on low ground. They're pushing forward though. Zexo and Macwood and Calc are looking so healthy. I asked for them, this is your game. Can you make it count? And they answered me, and they're looking so strong.
Yeah, Macwood absolutely bodied Zate with a nasty shot on the way up to the top, so that was a crazy way to retake high ground. That is the most significant high ground take of the day so far, and now they get to run it here for the final zones. We're in the final zone. It's all closing now, and look at the eliminations racking up. They absolutely need this right now. They were so far behind, so down in the standings here. Top 15 is just in sight. Can they finally break into that and continue to run away? This is the momentum a team needs. These are the kind of big games you need to set yourself away from the pack as they find Day as well. And it's great that they're finding these top teams, but you got to drop the ones that are down low in the standings. As someone goes up, it's Iciv. He gets removed from the competition as well. This is the final zone now. It's closing in, and there's only a couple teams left.
But Saf held out all this time. I think he's going to go down now. No, he's still in it, but he's third place now. Such a big performance from here to clutch this up. But Miro in reverse. We've seen this upset before. Miro managed to pull off an upset against Zayd's team. Here we go. They're going up for it, but reverse. No, he falls. We have World Cup qualifier taking down World Cup qualifier, and such a big finish. Look at the eliminations monster. 14 on the board.
I love you. All right, let's take a look at the standings and see how things are going. You know, unchanged. Zayd, Saf, and Stretch, 200 points. They finally have broken that number.
I think these guys are consistently in their placements over and over and over again. One of the guys that I want to look at is like Chap, Coop, and Hoofishy, who started the day off so strong. They started with a third with 8 eliminations, a second with 10, but they kind of fizzled out a little bit.